Hi, and welcome back to Extra Extra, your weekly LGBTQIA+ news roundup in which I serve you all the tea so that you don't have to do the deep diving yourself. This is my first video of 2024, so Happy New Year to you. Because I didn't do a video on week 1, we've got twice the amount of news to cover this week, so I'm going to be splitting up this video into 2 parts once again. This is the first of 2 videos where I'll be covering politics, science, and religion. Before we get started, I want to say a huge thank you to all of you who've watched and even liked and commented on my best of 2023 year roundup, my previous video, which has over 900 views by now, so thank you so much for that. If you haven't watched that video yet, go watch it after this one. It'll be featured at the very end of this video. It's all good news, all good stuff that happened for our community in 2023. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. If you enjoyed this content, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's get into it. France has a new prime minister. At 34 years old, Gabriel Attal is France's youngest ever prime minister, and he is also France's first ever openly gay prime minister. French President Emmanuel Macron appointed him after former Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne stepped down from the position, and in his 5 years as a government official, Gabriel Attal has been known as somebody who gets results fast. Daddy? He's also the first government official to use live streaming on platforms like Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok as a political platform to engage in Q&As with the public. And I personally am really excited that somebody so young and a member of the LGBT community is now one of the heads of the French government, and I'm hoping for lots of positive progress. More positive news in politics: the Greek government is currently drafting a marriage equality bill. Greece's Prime Minister has committed to furthering LGBTQ+ rights in Greece, despite opposition from the Orthodox Church, which holds traditionally very conservative values. Yum. Prime Minister Mitsotakis announced that he plans on eliminating any discrimination based on sexual orientation.
I'm obsessed with this.
And on opposition has stated that some people may disagree with same-sex marriage, but they do not stand to lose, which is the perfect statement to sum up any debate on marriage equality. This is something I've personally never quite understood, because if you oppose gay marriage, don't get gay married. How does it affect you whether other people enter into a marriage with a person of the same sex? Why do people who aren't affected by those choices that other people make think that they have the right to tell other people whether or not they can get married to their spouse or not? It just doesn't really make any sense to me. So I applaud the Greek Prime Minister for forging forward on this issue. It's an especially gutsy move from the Greek Prime Minister, because the Greek population is actually pretty much 50-50 split on opposing versus supporting gay marriage, according to a 2023 survey. And I want to take this opportunity to round up Greece's recent history in terms of LGBTQ+ reforms. Greece introduced same-sex civil partnerships in 2015 and banned conversion therapy 2 years ago. And I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, Greece is also one of only 6 countries worldwide to have banned unnecessary surgeries on intersex people.
I did it.
The Scottish government has recently started a consultation period in order to ban conversion therapy. Government officials have said that they plan on passing this bill in their current parliamentary term, which would be phenomenal, especially seeing as the UK government promised to ban conversion therapy 5 years ago and is yet to actually pass a conversion therapy ban. This consultation period ends on the 2nd of April, hopefully with the successful passing of said bill. And in a statement, Scottish Equalities Minister Emma Roddick has said, "We are leading the way in the UK," which is a bombastic side-eye.
Criminal offensive side-eye.
to UK Equalities Minister Kemi Badenoch, who has actually failed to meet with LGBTQ plus advocacies and charities during her time as Equalities Minister so far, and has recently received an official invite from the Peter Thatchell Foundation, which reads, Badenoch has reportedly never met the trans charity Mermaids, but has met one-sidedly with trans critical organisations. There has been a 2-year hiatus in meetings with Britain's leading LGBT plus group Stonewall. The safety and well-being of LGBT plus citizens should be the minister's goal.
Ever considered that? You're ignorant.
Recent transphobic stances from the Conservative government, which Kemi Badenoch is very much a part of, prove otherwise.
Ew.
But I'm really pleased that the Peter Thatchell Foundation has released an official public letter inviting Kemi Badenoch to engage, because if she fails to respond to this and meet with the Peter Thatchell Foundation, it'll be hugely embarrassing for her. We need more connection, more opportunities for connection, and more direct approaches like this. So I guess we'll stay tuned on whether Kemi will actually meet with the Peter Thatchell Foundation.
I doubt it.
But back to Scotland. Yay for Scotland for pressing ahead with a conversion therapy ban, even though the UK overarching government, which Scotland is a part of, is failing to meet its obligations on this. And an honorary mention as part of the politics segment, the Sphere Foundation has launched a petition to support LGBT plus Russians. I'm a little bit late to the party on this one. The petition has been out there for a few months, but it's a very important one, seeing as the Russian government recently declared the LGBTQ plus movement an extremist movement/organization, and has already started using this law to further discriminate against and persecute LGBT people, and also people who aren't LGBT, who just socialize with LGBT people.
This is illegal.
It's a really dire situation for queer folks in Russia, and any and all signatures will help this petition get traction and help get more aid to queer people in Russia, queer people fleeing Russia, queer people needing support in Russia. So if you can spare 2 minutes of your time, I'm going to link the petition down in the description towards the very top so it's easy to find. Thank you in advance for adding your signature. In the context of Pope Francis recently saying that the Catholic Church should support same-sex blessings, a group of African priests and bishops have issued a letter rejecting the Pope's suggestion, guidance, whatever you want to call it, saying that they could not offer same-sex blessings to their congregations because it would, and I quote, cause confusion. Confusion for who? In seriousness, there are quite a few African countries that criminalize homosexuality in which it would obviously not be appropriate or safe to practice same-sex blessings in, as it would put anyone involved at risk of being charged and imprisoned, and in some cases even killed. For example, Uganda, Burundi, and Zambia. But in all the other countries, it is ironic to me that it is now the African nations who hold on the tightest to their homophobic notions in the context of the Catholic Church, because the reason that they have them in the first place is colonialism and the fact that European countries introduced their homophobic stances and laws and religions onto the African people, and those populations have now so deeply integrated these traditional Christian values, which I'm pretty sure Jesus would completely disagree with, by the way, into their cultural beliefs, that they are the last to let them go. So really, this whole thing is a massive failure on the part of colonist nations. Hey, this is the halfway point of this week's video, and I'm just here to let you know that if you're enjoying this content, it would mean the world to me if you liked this video and subscribed to my channel, maybe tell a friend about me. Let's get back to the video. It kind of just makes sense that more time is needed for those specific countries in Africa to follow suit. And I hope that a decade from now, those same bishops and priests will look back on this letter with regret. We've got two really quite exciting talking points in science this week. A new genetics study recently published in Science Advances suggests that bisexual men are often more adventurous. The study has found that 3 traits, the number of children, risk-taking behavior, and bisexuality in men, specifically, share some genetic underpinnings. A previous genetics study published in 2019 found that some genetic variants can explain up to 25% of same-sex activity, which plainly put means that our genetics are at least 25% responsible for our sexual orientation. These kinds of studies are conducted often from an evolutionary standpoint because same-sex activity from an evolutionary perspective could seem like a waste of energy and time and, biological resources. But the fact that between 2 and 10% of populations consistently around the globe and throughout history seem to exhibit at least some same-sex behavior means there must be a reason for it. And so this study has linked higher risk-taking behavior and bisexuality in men to those men procreating more. And so that way, bisexual genes have been getting passed on from generation to generation. I always get excited at these kinds of studies, and I think they're really important because even though they do receive criticism, and I'll get to that in a second, they also fundamentally disprove the notion that homosexuality or bisexuality or anything that varies from heterosexuality is unnatural, as the counter-argument is often put, because something that is literally in our gene code cannot possibly be unnatural. That is so much at the very basis and fiber of us as biological organisms that the whole it's unnatural argument just doesn't hold up.
And you can't sit with us.
The criticisms that this specific study has received are that, one, tying bisexuality to risky behavior could lead to further discrimination and prejudice against bisexual people. The main prejudice that bi people, including myself, often receive is that we are promiscuous and unfaithful in relationships, and that committing to one person always means you're missing out on experiences with people of other genders, which simply is not the case. There are heterosexual people who are unfaithful and unable to commit to a relationship, and there are bisexual people who are very monogamous or are even demisexual and don't even experience sexual attraction to people before they fall in love. So that idea and that prejudice very much is just that. And I understand the criticism towards this study that linking those two together genetically could get misconstrued into that. And the other criticism against this particular study is that its database is based on sexual history, not sexual identity, and so omits a whole group of people who've never acted on their bisexuality and only have heterosexual experiences, who, side note, yes, are still bisexual. Both those criticisms are completely valid. I totally get them. I still think scientific research into sexuality is really important, and we have to start somewhere. And yeah, if you want to read more about the study, I've got it linked down below. As always, all of my sources are linked in the description. And we are ending this first of 2 videos on a high note. So many good news, who knew? A scientist recently spotted this bird while birdwatching in Colombia. I'll tell you why that's exciting. This is a honeycreeper. And honeycreepers are either all green if they're female or all blue if they're male. And as you'll notice, this bird is half and half, which is a natural phenomenon called bilateral gynandromorphy, which is defined as when animals exhibit both male and female physical traits, like this. From the perspective of somebody in the LGBTQ plus community. This is exciting because it is a natural example of an intersex or androgynous or non-binary animal. Any and all of the above, in a way. Birds, like humans, have 2 chromosomes that codify their gender, and birds with bilateral gynandromorphy, are usually intersex. The scientists who spotted this bird didn't capture them, so they don't know for sure whether or not it has a blend of male and female genitalia, but previous examples of gynandromorphs have all had both, so it's fair to assume that this bird does too. And so once again, this is just a scientifically founded example of transness, of non-binary genders, of intersex biology just being completely natural.
Yeah.
Many biologists have stated in the past that the binary idea of male and female and using it to categorize mammals and animals of really all species into these 2 categories is overly simplistic because a wide variety of traits can be defined as male or female: chromosomes, appearances, sex organs, sex hormones, and can intertwine and mix in a variety of ways and don't always all neatly fit into one category or the other. The author of the corresponding article on them.us, somebody by the name of James Factora, has ended the article with the most fitting Star Trek quote, which is, "There is no error, only infinite diversity in infinite combinations." And that, my dear friends, is the end of this first of 2 videos. I'll be dropping the second part of this video later on this week. Thank you so much for watching, as always. I really enjoyed reading all of your comments and all the lovely things that happened to you over the holidays in my previous video. Feel free to share any more positive news from your life in the comment section. I really enjoyed how the comment section on my previous video became a place for positive exchange and sharing of LGBT experiences from all of you, and would love for that to continue. So if you have anything to share, I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.